Hello and welcome to Quays News. I'm William Coolray.
And I'm Elisabetta Vanacore. Here's what's coming up on today's show.
Andy Burnham is not allowed to stand as an MP in Manchester. We'll have the reaction from Gorton and Denton.
I don't think he should be blocked. I think everybody should have their chance to put their case forward.
Following Australia's social media ban for under-16s, will the UK follow suit? A professor from the University of Manchester gives us his take.
My feeling was this is kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, effectively.
The first monthly clean-up of the year takes place in Salford, Quays. We'll hear from the local councillor who helped to organise it.
And a mobile museum celebrating 200 years of the British Railway arrives in Bury.
Earlier this week, the Greater Manchester Mayor, Andy Burnham, was blocked by Labour's National Executive Committee from standing as a candidate in the upcoming Gorton and Denton by-election. The Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, has defended the decision, saying it was important the party avoid an unnecessary mayoral election. Our reporter James Sudworth has been speaking to locals in Denton.
In the days after the resignation of Andrew Gwynne on health grounds, Andy Burnham announced via X that he had written to the Home Secretary, who's also the chair of the National Executive Committee of the Labour Party, to enter the selection process to become the next candidate for Denton and Gorton for the Member of Parliament. However, on Sunday morning, the NEC confirmed that Mr Burnham's request has been denied, citing campaign resource limitations. In a statement, the Labour Party said that the NEC believed that triggering an unnecessary election for the position of Greater Manchester Mayor would have substantial disproportionate impact on party campaign resources ahead of local elections in the Scottish Parliament and to the Welsh Assembly in May.
No, I don't think he would have been good for Denton. I don't support Labour as it is, so I didn't want him to get through, so it's a good thing for me. And as for Mayor, no, I don't think he does a particularly good job as the Mayor in Manchester.
Well, I don't think he should be blocked. I think everybody should have their chance to put their case forward. But I don't know much about it. I think he should have a chance.
I don't think he would have been brilliant round here because he's well liked, he's well known, but in some ways I'm quite glad because I won't be found to get him round here, and I think he would have got in if they would have done that. I think Starmer's weak, and that's why he's done it. He's a weak Prime Minister. He doesn't want the competition, if you like.
In a sense, he's actually made a bit of a mistake not letting Andy Burnham come in for the same side, because I believe he would have had a really good chance of getting in, therefore there would have been more seats. However, now I think it's made it quite clear that there's a really good run made so that before we can get in.
Labour MPs have reacted with disappointment and anger, with the former Shadow Chancellor, MP for Hayes and Harlington, John MacDonald, criticising the decision, referring to the MP, Sir Keir Starmer, as displaying cowardice in the face of a potential leadership challenge. Elsewhere, close to home, Liverpool West Derby MP Ian Byrne has accused Starmer and his inner circle of being prepared to gift Gorton and Denton to reform if it means protecting their own fractional interests.
Next, if you've got a teenager at home, are they currently on their phone, perhaps looking at TikTok or Instagram? Would news of a potential ban on social media for under-16s make them look up?
Yes, could the UK be following in the footsteps of Australia? The UK government is consulting on a ban, but not everyone is on board.
Libby's been following the story. Libby, so what does this ban mean, and why is the UK considering it now?
Yes, so back in December, Australia made a pretty monumental decision to ban under-16s from 10 major social media platforms, including Instagram and TikTok. So since then, a lot of pressure has been on the government in the UK to follow suit, and this pressure only grew last week because in the House of Lords they voted for MPs to reconsider their previous choice to not go ahead with the ban. And this means that the UK government is now running a 3-month consultation, by the end of which they'll decide whether or not to go through with the same ban as Australia. Now, I spoke to an expert on the topic, and his research suggests that an outright ban might not be the best option for the UK. Neil Humphrey from the University of Manchester shared his thoughts on Australia's decision.
My feeling was this is kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater effectively, and instead of that, what we need to think more about is, you know, social media is here to stay. It's absolutely embedded in the fabric of young people's lives, and we need to kind of respect and acknowledge that and think about, well, you know, rather than having an outright ban, what are the ways in which we can legislate to make sure that it's a safer place for young people to be, so to reduce their exposure to the kind of potentially harmful side, whilst also enabling them to access the positive, productive, kind of connective side.
What will this 3-month consultation involve?
So the consultation will involve the government considering the advantages and the disadvantages of a ban, and they'll get advice from experts in the field such as Jonathan Haidt, who he's quite a big critic of social media and its effect on young people, and his book was actually a driving force behind Australia's choice. And along with this, they'll also explore alternatives such as overnight curfews and actions to prevent doom scrolling. And when speaking to Humphrey, he was actually particularly keen on looking at alternatives to the ban because he predicts it won't have the intended impact.
So what policies does he suggest?
If young people have restricted or no access to those kind of major platforms, other ones will pop up that are not covered in the legislation, and young people will migrate to those. So there's already feedback from Australia where, you know, that sort of thing might be starting to happen. Also that, you know, it's not particularly difficult for young people to create fake accounts. You know, so there's all kinds of ways in which the ban, even very well intentioned, can be kind of circumvented.
So what policies does Humphrey suggest as an alternative to a ban?
So Humphrey's main argument is that the government needs to put more pressure on the social media companies. So they need to take more responsibility to reduce young people's exposure to this harmful content that they're getting on their platforms. And he also said that although social media is now treated as the folk devil, especially by parents who are obviously worried about their kids and what they're doing on there, he said that there's actually research evidence that indicates that a range of factors have similar, if not more, harmful effects on young people's mental health. For example, cuts to child and youth services. So he really encourages the government to look at the evidence from both sides before making this decision that will be life-changing for so many young people.
Thank you very much, Libby. Now, volunteers took part in the first monthly community clean-up of the year at Salford Quays on Sunday.
That's right, I went down there to find out more.
I took over the clean-up Salford Quays in October 2023. It was initially set up a couple of years before by my predecessor, but when I started it was literally just 3 or 4 people coming out doing an ad hoc clean-up on a Sunday. We've grown strength and strength since then. As you've seen earlier today, there's over 40 people here, and that is the norm every single month now, so we're really, really pleased. In 2024 we cleaned up 750 bags of rubbish. In 2025 I think got just over 800. Really, really big feats, and hopefully 2026 will be our biggest year yet. And today we've got community groups from United Utilities, Clean Up Salford Quays, the Salford Hong Kong and CIC, and Clean Up Salford themselves. So we have 5 community groups that have actually came together just for today. There's a WhatsApp group, there's a Facebook group, there's a website, you know, there's a bit of a network there. And it's just a lot of like-minded people who care about the area and care about the community, as you said.
It's really important to give back to the community, and it's really important to do our bit as well for society. Volunteers are kind of the backbone of what we have at Human Appeal and what we do. And for them to be able to come into the community is a really rewarding experience as well. They get to meet local people, they get to interact with the community and also give back to society, which is what they've signed up to do as a volunteer.
Now it's to Bury, the East Lancashire railway station had a visit from the Railway 200 exhibition train. It's a mobile museum that celebrates 200 years of the British Railway. Our reporter Rebecca Verity visited the museum to find out more.
In 1825, the world's first public train set off in the northeast of England. Now, to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the British Railway, the Railway 200 exhibition train is acting as a mobile museum. Its 4 converted coaches are spending 2026 by touring 48 different train stations in Britain.
Each coach will be having bespoke fit-outs, each with its own individual theme. So there will be Railway First, Railway Futures, Wonderlab on Wheels and the Partnership Zone.
We're supporting Railway 200 because we think it's a really great opportunity to celebrate the rich history of the railway, but also equally it's an opportunity to look forward and inspire the next generation of people who are going to be working on the railway in future.
Replicating the British Railway Museum, the train is primarily aged at 7 to 14-year-olds to show how a career in railway can be exciting in a more accessible way.
You know, if we look back 200 years and the way in which the very, innovation that took place 200 years ago, very much on our doorstep here in the UK, and it's that opportunity now to really celebrate the past and look towards the future.
A man is in hospital after being stabbed in Salford Quays. The incident took place last Wednesday during a protest over the ongoing conflict in Syria. Greater Manchester Police have launched an appeal and are continuing investigations.
The police have handed out 120 spiking and testing kits to pubs in Salford. It's part of their work to tackle crime in town centres and on the high street. The kits include covers to safeguard drinks and test strips to check if they've been spiked.
Greater Manchester Police say a criminal investigation into women being filmed without consent on nights out in Manchester has now concluded. Police say legal limitations prevented further criminal action, but civil options are being explored. Since the launch of Operation Safer Streets, officers have made 980 interventions, with reported rape offences going down by up to 50% in the Peter Street-Deesgate corridor.
And finally, at the University of Salford, the Africa For You Awards ceremony took place on Monday. Individuals and organisations were honoured for their contributions to community development, inclusion and diversity. Our reporter Anithu Thalil was at the event.
The GMPT Africa For You Awards for the recognition and celebration of the African community was held on 26th of January in Salford Business School. The Vice Chairman of the University have presented the awards for people who have contributed to the community cohesion, inclusion and diversity.
But one driving force is never forget your roots. Sankofa, we say in Ghana. Go back and fetch it.
The award receivers ended the program with a positive note to celebrate who they are and what their identity is.
Identity is so important to us, and I encourage everyone to hold on to that identity and talk about it, show it, be it, because that's the one thing that people cannot take away from you.
And that's all we have time for today.
Remember to follow us at Quays TV on social media to stay up to date with all of the latest.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.